Poor integration leads to radicalization and violent extremism. And that's why we wanted to solve the refugee integration crisis to counter violent extremism. We wanted to do that by A, integration, and B, education. We also wanted to have a real-life impact on these real-life human beings as they are, same as we are. And as Nokia's slogan once said, connecting people. So next, I'm going to show you a video that wraps up our vision. In the video, the story is about an asylum seeker who came to Finland in our town in Turku. And it's all about first sad feelings. No one cares about him. All the local peoples have negative attitudes towards them. But at the end, there is a small, slight deed a local people does for him. He helps him by collecting papers. And even that kind of slight deed could help them feel like they're in a new home. So let's take a look at this. So yes, indeed, they were our target audience, but we didn't want to treat them as only as a target audience. We wanted to work with them because they're human beings like we are. So we went to the reception centers with them, we played football with them, even though we didn't have a common language because most of them don't even speak English. But actually, although we didn't have like a formal mutual language, we had one mutual language, which is called the smile. So these kind of signs from the asylum seekers when we played football with them, when we cooked them, when we cooked with them, when we played cards with them, that's the first step, like welcoming them to our new country. But how many are they? As we all know, this is a dominant topic in Europe at the moment, and Finland is one of the highest receiver per capita. And put things into perspective, Finland has a population of 5.5 million around. And I think that Philadelphia metropolis has around 6 million people, right? So they are a bit the same. So you can put things into perspective that we got more than 10 times asylum seekers more than the previous year. And especially as as this is a European-wide thing, African-wide thing, Middle Eastern thing, we're not only in Finland. In Europe, and especially in Germany, there were almost 1 million asylum seekers last year. So everything we did in the area of Finland, in the area of our local city, Turku, we wanted to be scalable. We wanted to try and pilot everything in our home city, but after that, we wanted to make it scalable. And that's what we did. But before getting deeper, I would like to highlight one thing: the path of the refugee. After he or she escapes from the home country he or she was born, and he tries to seek a new place where he could make a new life, he comes, for example, in Finland and in our home city, Turku. This is the most important place where we have to succeed, the integration process. Because if we don't succeed here, we might see that they feel unwelcome or lack of belonging, which eventually can alienate from the society. So they are at risk. Or they become really frustrated and lose hope. And according to our research, how people end up radicalizing is A, alienating, and B, losing hope. So this is the most important thing where we have to succeed in the long term to challenge violent extremism and future recruits. So the main problem was the poor integration leads to radicalization. But we found these 4 sub-problems that we want to tackle to prevent the main problem. These asylum seekers, when they came to Finland, we saw that they lack of information about the city or the country or the Western society. They lack of context with locals because all the reception centers are on countryside. They are not on downtowns. So they don't have any context with all the Finnish locals. They don't have any activities in the reception center. And one of the most important things in Europe right now is the local people's negative attitudes towards them. So we wanted to tackle these 4 sub-problems with our solution, which is presented here. We wanted to combine both online and offline and get the awareness, but awareness as it's not enough, as we need to get it to the interest. We need to get it to the solutions, not only complaining about the problems. So what we wanted to do, people need real world encounters because they don't have nothing to do. So we wanted to create offline face-to-face events where locals and asylum seekers could meet up, cultures could meet up, we could learn from each other. But as we all know, the social media is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, so we need to be present there. So what we did in the events, we wanted to encourage people to come into the events, and after that we wanted to continue the dialogue in our online environment. And everything what we wanted to do was the opinion change, get us on news, because one powerful weapon which news is that it can bring out the solutions. It can encourage other people to see that, hey, these people, university students in Turku are doing this magnificent stuff. So how could I help them? And all the people who are in the silent majority who don't know about this topic, they will learn about the topic that, hey, we should actually help them because it can help challenge extremism, and we can help them to get a new job, get the education, teach them new languages. We can play PlayStation with them. We can go and play football with them. And that's when the asylum seekers feel happy and sees the new place as its future home. Now I would like to present a video from our most important and the popular event, Restaurant Day.
Border from a state
So this event you saw was the restaurant day, the international dinner united by food. And what we wanted to do was to build up a pop-up restaurant in a day called the restaurant day, where anybody, you and me, could set up our own restaurant. And we wanted to set up our restaurant and bring all the asylum seekers in the area of Turku to cook their own cultural dinners, their own cuisines with our funding. And where the funding came, city of Turku, the government in the municipality, they saw this event as an important tactic in their migration strategy, so they wanted to give us financial aid to make this thing happen. So what happened in there, it was not only cooking. As you saw in the video, it was like festival. People were dancing, having fun, having discussions. There were grandmothers, there were little children who were like, hey, what is this? What is this? We wanted to join this as well. We wanted to taste the food. It was magnificent. How could I meet these asylum seekers in the future? How could I eat their food? They're perfect at making food. Altogether, we had 800 people in that particular day. We had to close our restaurant after 2 hours because of the huge demand of these events. There were DJs playing. We had local companies to provide things we need. For example, as these asylum seekers live around the city in the countryside. So a local bus company, wanted to help us. They provided 5 different buses to pick these asylum seekers up, bring them into our event, and then take them back. So it was really huge success. Suit Up Asylum Seekers, we wanted to collect all the university students, well, not old clothes, but like previous clothes. 2 years back, I used these, but I'm not using them anymore. Could I give it to someone? Yes, you could. You can give it to asylum seekers. And as we know, the weather in Finland is really cold. It can get up to 15 degrees, 15 Fahrenheit. So they really needed these clothes. So, as the social media gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the offline component is not only enough. We wanted to continue the dialogue in online environment, and in online environment, it's really easy to come up with us. So it's really easy to come in, start discussing with us. And what we wanted to do, we wanted to have the interaction between both Finns and the asylum seekers. We wanted to promote these kind of offline events. And one important thing, what's happening in Europe is right now the misinformation. We don't know about these asylum seekers, and we're just making guesses that, hey, they must be criminals. Why is it only men coming into a country? Why do they have iPhones, latest iPhones, really good clothes and everything? I thought they were poor, but that's not the reality. These people who are escaping from the horror, they can be just as rich as we are, just as rich as anyone else is, but they're escaping horror. It doesn't look like what kind of living do you have or anything else. They want just to have a happy life in a new country. And that's what we wanted to provide. Main channel, Facebook, website as an official presence, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube were all supporting channels, but also important ones. So what we wanted to do in our website, we wanted to get people involved in our campaign. Hey, you can go to our website, you can go to our Facebook site and click like, and then start discussing with these fellow migrants or asylum seekers if you're that. Then we wanted to give them event calendar, because we saw one of the problems is that they don't have real world encounters with the locals. So we wanted to handpick all the best events that have been or are up to organized in the city of Turku, and we wanted to give them so that they could have a place to start having dialogue with the locals. Facebook, as I previously mentioned this, what kind of tactics did we have then? As Tony mentioned, we didn't want to mention ISIS because they are escaping the horror of ISIS. We wanted to stay in the unite, not divide. So positiveness, that's really important when dealing with asylum seekers. Taking real life events into consideration, for example, when Paris attacks, happened. We wanted to share our support for people who had been, for example, there or did have something to ask from us. We wanted to encourage them to have like a positive discussion with us, even though there has been this kind of horror. Adding Arabic translation when possible, that was a really important step in our process. The further we went with our campaign, asylum seekers wanted to volunteer in our campaign and wanted to give us help. Hey, do you need translation? Because we heard that in our reception centers, many people don't understand English. So we can translate your post into Arabic so that all the other people can also understand. And that really helps on our success. Well, then what worked? Of course, celebrity endorsement for our project. Emotional content is really important. Positive and emotional content and pictures and stories of real people, real asylum seekers, real locals, Finnish peoples. Instagram was mainly for younger people, visual content, and that was a supporting channel, as well as Twitter, which is a really good tool for attracting opinion leaders who has many followers. For example, the finance minister of Finland started to follow us after we created the About City integration app, a solution for faster integration. But before getting deeper into what it is, I would like to open the background real quickly. We saw that the asylum seekers had usually only their clothes and their iPhones with them when they came into a new country. So it was obvious that they couldn't integrate into our new country if they don't know anything about it, if they don't have any real-world encounters, if they don't have the online place to have discussions. So what is this? This is an educational mobile tool for the asylum seekers. So we give information for the most important topics like, hey, how does the transportation works? Where can you find the groceries? How can you learn the language? Where can you start working after a month, after 12 months, or after the education you get, for example, later in the university. But as we all know, education and information as its own, it's not enough to solve the integration problems. We also need interaction. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to give them the place where to interact with locals, both online and offline. So we wanted to encourage them to go volunteer work. We gave them the places where to do volunteering work, where to join, for example, sports activities, where to go, how to go into our website and have further discussion with us and all that kind of stuff. So interaction and education are both really important components when we want to help asylum seekers in integration. So let's take a closer look. What does this app look like? We made this together with a mobile IT company called Funzi. They are providing a platform for all kind of content. So for example, if we want to take Philadelphia's content, Philadelphia, few people starting to look in the web of Philadelphia, we see that there are like 40 pages, PDF files. We see that it's like hard language to understand. We see that it's not in the visual way. So no one is ever going to read them. So what happens when you take the information out of the online and give it to us, we take it into a visual way, we make it into his or her native language, so Arabic, we crystallize the information, so we only take the most important information and put it there so it's easy and fast to read and learn, and after that he or she is motivated to learn more, so we put hand-picked links where to find out more about this particular topic. And the best thing in About City integration app, as I previously mentioned, the scalability. We all know that the refugee crisis is not only present in Turku, Finland, so whichever city, national city or international city in Europe, in Germany, can implement this in their society, in their city in less than 2 weeks with help of us. So how did the media react on everything we did? Altogether we got media releases in 14 different medias. For example, we got the biggest newspaper in Finland and biggest TV channel in Finland. In the biggest newspaper in Finland, we had a full-page article in the Helsinki Times telling about our program, telling about the integration app and how it can help asylum seekers to integrate better into our society. But also, as we started this campaign, we did not want it to be only a campaign that lasts for 5 weeks. There is no point to create great initiatives, but just leave them there without continuous improvements. So what basically we wanted to do, the events calendar we provided, it's still up and running in our website, and it has some users. About Turku, this integration app, which we did together with Funzi, we're developing it further, and we have had discussions with Helsinki, Tampere, which is another city, and Oulu. So 3 different cities. Of course, the problem in this is the slow process. It takes time to get this kind of mobile application for the asylum seekers. But the need is now. We should make the process faster, and of course, it's all about finance then, how we could get this service for the asylum seekers so that they don't have to pay for this. The government is the one who is paying for this, or the municipality. And social media community, we're still active on social media profiles, so Twitter and Facebook are really important when we come to online. Restaurant Day, the Red Cross was really delighted about our work during that one day, so they are going to arrange it in the future as well. So to wrap up our discussions with these asylum seekers, we can see that there were a lot of positive comments on our work. They wanted to help, they wanted to say thank you, and one person even missed the football event, and he was like asking, when can we play this again? Because I heard from my friends that it was so cool, we wanted to do it again. I heard that there were DJs playing music, you had a lot of fun. That's what it's all about. It's like small deeds that really matters in our generation. And the online and both offline, combining those is really important when we deal with the asylum seekers and migrants in Finland. And I would like to end my presentation by introducing our Minister of Interior, Petteri Orpo, and his endorsement for our project. So basically what he wanted to do and say about our project, he was so delighted about our work that he said that academic enthusiasm, digital innovations, and social media can really help in our complex problems nowadays when the need is the most. And what's really a problem is that in Europe, we're only looking at the problem, but no one is finding the solutions. And he was really delighted that university students took this into their hands and wanted to provide solution. Thank you.